Hi, George here, and in today's video, we'll be cleaning up this photograph by taking out this harness on this dog and the leash right over here. I think that will improve the picture quite a bit. And the first thing I always do whenever I'm doing this kind of photo retouching is to make a duplicate of the background. Go over here, right-hand side where it says background, right-click, duplicate layer, choose OK, and then just hide that background. That's a safety just in case things go wrong. We can always go back here and try again. All right, now whenever you're replacing anything in a picture, you need to see what's around it because we're going to have to be taking stuff from around this and placing it on top of this or creating new content to fill that in. And the other end of this lead here is this device in her hand. Almost looks like a purse, so I think we could probably leave this one alone. But if I scroll in, if you wanted to remove this, there's a few things you'd have to do. There's a missing piece of finger right here. You'd have to figure out how to replace that bit of finger. We don't have anything for that. You'd also have to replace this bit of skirt that's right in here. That can be done by taking some skirt from someplace else and patching it in, but very difficult to do that. Now the back one back in here, that would be easy to replace that part of it. So this could be made to look okay, but it's a bit of a job on that, and the finger's the hardest part. This is a section where I would prefer to use AI to do this because AI could actually rebuild that finger. We only have an AI tool for this kind of work in Photoshop Elements 2026. It came in new with that version. So for most people, you won't have that. And I think we can just ignore this piece because in the context of the picture, once that lead is gone, then this just becomes something she's holding, and we don't think about that as being part of the lead. So we'll just forget about that for this video. Okay, let's do the first part here. Right down here is the lead. I'll just use the clone stamp on this. I think this will be just fine for that. Easy to do. Let's go up here. I'll grab the clone stamp tool. Actually, my size is pretty good. Now, down in the options down here, you want to have this on clone stamp and not pattern stamp. It's a whole different thing. You want to have a soft edge brush. Your size should match what you're trying to do. I like being just a little bit larger than what I'm doing. If I go right down over here, notice that the brush is about twice as wide as or twice as tall as that lead. That's a pretty good size. And if you're doing clone stamp work, you want to make sure that things in here are not too easily recognized or too much of a real strong pattern because it's then very hard to match that up. For the skirt in here, it'd be very difficult to match this pattern someplace else because the pattern is very regular. You see there's diagonal lines in here. Unless I got those exactly right, it'd be easy to see that we had cheated on that section. So you want to have a background that's easy to blend into. In this case, out of focus ground, perfect. So to use this tool, hold the Alt key down and click. That is your clone from point. And notice I can kind of see that. If I go over here, it's even easier to see. There you go. That's my clone 2. The kind of hard dot in the middle, that's the brush where it fades out. That's the fade out for the soft edge. But the clone from point is actually moving along with the brush. So we're going to be getting a variation on there. And that's the aligned option right down there. Normally I'll leave these alone. The defaults, in most cases, is perfect. Okay, then just paint over that. You can see right now, see that plus sign down there? Notice how that is following along. That way there's a randomness showing up in there. We're not getting the same thing repeated over and over again, which would actually create kind of a hard line. And right up here, it's a little bit trickier. I'm just going to tap into that like that. And there we go. That's good. This side over here, this is a hard edge. So I don't want to clone stamp with a soft edge on top of a hard edge. So we need to have a protection selection in here. So I'll go up here to the polygonal lasso tool. You need to have this set at new selection or add. Add is fine. And I'm going to make a selection right along this edge right here, and then out and around, and back in here, and double click to close that. And then back to our clone stamp tool. I can now clone stamp up against that edge. Now it went too far, so let's come out here a bit further, maybe right here, Alt and click, and I'll clone stamp from here. And notice that there is a change in the ground right there. So I'm just going to go like this. Let's go up here where we have that kind of change there, a bit of a diagonal line. Alt and click on that diagonal line. I'll bring that line in, and then I can work against that line. And there we go. Control D to deselect, and that's taken care of. So the lead is pretty easy. Let's now see what we can do with this harness over here. A bit more tricky. On this one, I'm going to try using the content aware fill. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I'll take the polygonal lasso tool again, and I'll make a selection around this just a little ways outside. We'll see how it goes. If it doesn't work, we'll have to do some more careful clone stamp work. Let us come right around in here. We'll do some clone stamp work anyway. I think we're going to have to do some cleanup on this to make it look good. and up and around. Here we go. Up this side. Let's get that shadow as well because that would give the whole thing away. And up here, right along that edge. Back to the beginning. There's a spot right down here. We can either keep that or lose it. I'm just going to leave it alone. Let's now go up to Edit. Come down to Fill Selection. Make sure you have this set at Content Aware Fill. Choose OK. I always have my blend mode at normal and opacity at 100%. Let's see what happens. And it's actually not too bad. Okay, Control D to deselect. Pretty good. Now I kind of see it right in here. A little bit of that. Kind of see there's kind of a soft spot right here. A little bit of a soft spot right over here. I think we can hide those with a little bit of clone stamping. It's our clone stamp tool. Still in the same setting. I want to take some of this fur here and put it up into here. Just going to Alt and tap. And I'll do this a few times. Come down, tap, and then bring some in. Come down, tap again, and bring some more in like that. That's pretty good. Let's bring a little bit of this up in here. I just want to hide where that line is showing, and I think that hides that pretty well. Now this bit right here, clone stamp, and I'll come in here, a little bit of that. There we go, just a bit of texture on there. This bit sticking out, we can get rid of that. Alt and click, and just take that piece out right there. That may help the picture a little bit. That's good. This bit up in here. Now the back of the dog is very hard along and through here. So I'm going to take my selection tool, come way down here, and I'm going to come in and make a new line here for the back of the dog, just like that. And I'll come out here first, double click. Let's put some background in here. Again, back to our clone stamp tool, Alt and click, and then come in and just paint that in. There we are. Let's now go up to Select and Inverse, and then come outside here. So the selection now is outside and not inside. Let's go over here, Alt and click, and then bring that in like that, just along this edge. And I think that's all we actually have to do. Control D to deselect. That looks good. Oh, a little bit right down here. Let's bring that back in again. Select, reselect, and come down here, Alt and click, and then right there, fixes it. Control D, and that's good. Actually, I'll just use Control 0 to fit screen. And I think that's a much better picture now. The dog's not being controlled by a harness. Instead, the dog is doing this all on his own. And I think, there we go, nice cleaned up picture. Remove that rather bad looking harness and get a good improvement on the photograph with not that much work. Now, if you enjoyed this video, I know that you'll love my complete training course for Photoshop Elements. If you're curious about that, I'll put a link for that at the top of the description. Again, if you like this video, hit that thumbs up. I appreciate that. Also, make sure you subscribe. I'm doing new videos all the time. You don't want to miss any of those. And I'll see you next time.